Naruto and Boruto grew up in completely different worlds, but what if Boruto wasn't his son, but his brother instead? How would that change their bond and the entire story itself? The night was suffocating, and the air itself shook with the terror of the nine-tailed fox throughout the Konoha village. The claws of the tailed beast destroyed the rooftops, and its tail smashed the stone into dust. The roar was enough to echo through the land of fire, and all the neighboring villages were surprised when the Nine-Tails was suddenly summoned. Inside a dimly lit chamber, Kushina Uzumaki was slowly dying. Her chakra chains trembled as they held the monstrous fox back, and Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, stood behind her with nothing but pain on his face. Once Naruto was born, something strange followed. Just as Minato was preparing the sealing formula, a second cry echoed in the chamber, and Minato's eyes widened. It was another baby with spiky blonde hair, softer, messier, but he was quite literally connected to them. This baby's presence was a complete mystery, and Kushina was happy to see that she had been blessed with twins. That's when the kids were named Naruto and Boruto. The sealing jutsu began, and the nine tails roared, trying to break free. But Minato's hands moved with powerful precision. His chakra was everywhere, splitting the beast in two. One half he sealed inside himself, while the other was sealed within the body of Naruto. But what about Boruto? Well, Minato hesitated as he didn't want bad luck for both of his boys. One of the boys was a vessel, while the other was a mystery. Just like the original storyline, the couple died in their own blood after being attacked by the nine tails, and their chakra faded. This was the start of our new hero's journey and their path to becoming the prideful sons of Minato and Kushina. The next morning, Konoha was in ruins, with smoke rising from broken homes. All the shinobi gathered in silence around the mess. At the center, they found two cribs side by side. One was holding Naruto, who was marked with the seal of the nine tails, while the other was holding Boruto, a mystery that no one could explain. But one thing was clear, they were both related. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, looked down with heavy eyes and he knew what was going on. In his mind, he thought that Naruto would be carrying the painful burden of the nine tails, and Boruto, even though he was untouched, would face a similar level of pain because both of them were literally connected to each other. Back in the council, people were criticizing Hiruzen for letting Naruto live, with Danzo suggesting that they should kill him off and work on grooming Boruto to make him the next chief of the village. But Hiruzen silenced everyone with a sharp look, saying that they had bigger problems to deal with, as this mysterious person wreaked a lot of havoc on their village. The decision was final. The two brothers would grow up as orphans, and would be given a chance to live up to their best potential. Of everyone on the council, Danzo was quite mad. Years passed, yet the whispers of the nine tails never stopped. Naruto was also bearing the burden of the villagers' hatred, and whenever he would go out, people would glare at him, and parents would pull their children away. However, Boruto would always fight for his brother, saying that he didn't deserve this hate. While Boruto's life was different, it wasn't easier for him either. He was pitied, ignored, and treated like a shadow standing beside the monster. To the villagers, Boruto was just unlucky, but to Naruto, Boruto was everything. They shared meals of stale bread, played with sticks, and even trained together. Naruto was a reckless kid, while Boruto was sharper and more cautious, always finding ways to bring Naruto back from trouble. Still, there was some resentment that came between them because of how they were treated by the villagers. Naruto would always wonder if Boruto was well liked while everyone hated him. From a very young age, the stage for rivalry was already set. When they entered the academy, the world already saw the differences between the two brothers. Naruto was quite clumsy and desperate for attention, while Boruto was naturally skilled but uninterested in getting popular. He also hated the village's silent judgments. The day of graduation from the academy was the first step in both our heroes' lives to become real shinobi. The contrast between them was already clear because Naruto struggled with even the most basic techniques like shadow clone, while Boruto had an immense level of control over his chakra and a natural instinct to become even stronger. However, despite all of Boruto's talent, he remained in his brother's shadow. Less hatred than Naruto, but truly never embraced by anyone. When the exams ended, both were promoted to genin, but in different ways. Naruto succeeded only after mastering the shadow clone, while Boruto easily passed with his skills alone. That day, they also came across Sakura and Sasuke and formed a squad together under the guidance of Kakashi Hatake. There were 4 members in the squad instead of the standard 3, and even Kakashi knew that this squad was about to become the most interesting. During Kakashi's test, things got quite interesting. Boruto and Sasuke saw this synergy building together, and while Naruto and Sasuke couldn't do anything, Boruto successfully stole the bell from Kakashi. In various tests, Boruto would successfully overpower Naruto and sometimes even Sasuke in terms of natural talent. And this time, Sasuke saw Boruto as a genuine competitor who might one day surpass him if ignored. Sakura was still training behind them, and Kakashi became the battlefield of pride. That's where the darkest mission happened, where our heroes went into the land of waves. As this served as a defining moment, faced with Zabuza and Haku, the genin were thrust into real battle. Here, instead of Kakashi taking the leap forward, Boruto was the one who truly shone. His sensory perception allowed him to easily detect Haku's movements within the ice mirrors, and though he was still in his imperfect form, not only did he protect Sakura, but he gave everyone a tactical advantage. Naruto, angry because of Haku's attack on Sasuke, tapped into the Nine Tails chakra in a burst of raw power. And this was the first time, everyone saw this terrifying transformation. Together, they both defeated Haku. The battle ended exactly how it was supposed to, but this time, it was a little too easy. Both Zabuza and Haku still died, and our heroes won their mission. After this mission came the popular Chunin exams that brought energy to Konoha, unlike anything before. During the exam, Sasuke stepped into the arena against the mighty Gaara, and the air itself grew heavy with tension. Gaara's sand was always on defense, but Sasuke still didn't flinch because in his eyes, he had the powerful Sharingan. For the first time, Sasuke used his Chidori, and he was a little better than in the original timeline due to the competitiveness of Boruto. Ultimately, Gaara's composure cracked and he became angry. In the end, Sasuke won the match because Gaara literally lost his mind in his own hatred. The next big match was between Boruto and Neji Hyuga. Here, Neji was also a genius who was pitted against another genius. At first, Boruto was surprised to see Neji fighting with his Byakugan, but soon enough, Boruto also showed his compressed chakra strike, which turned the tide of the battle. By gathering energy into his palm, he launched forward with a single devastating blow that disrupted Neji's stance and ultimately knocked him out of the arena. Naruto in this timeline fought against Kiba Inuzuka, who showed no mercy. At the climax, Naruto tricked Kiba with his infamous transformation, disguising himself as Akamaru and catching Kiba off guard. With a single strike, he sent Kiba sprawling and ultimately won the battle. The Chunin exam showed the power of the Uzumaki brothers to the world, and it solidified the rivalry between the three Team 7 members. Next, it was a matchup between Sasuke and Boruto, and both were ready to stand and bang with each other. The fight started, and from the get-go, Sasuke used fireball jutsu that was bigger than a hot balloon. Once it hit Boruto, Sasuke was quite happy. He told himself he was unstoppable, and nobody could survive against him. However, beside him was a rock that transformed into Boruto and kicked Sasuke in the face. Sasuke was stunned to see how Boruto could master the transformation jutsu in such a unique way. They showed an excellent display of taijutsu, but suddenly, Sasuke started using Chidori. But Boruto did something that shocked everyone. While Chidori was considered something quite unique and powerful, a purple aura surrounded Boruto, and purple lightning came out of his hand. Both attackers clashed, and they were injured really badly. As they were tired and fighting against each other, suddenly the air moved. Just when the crowd was holding their breath, looking at the climax of the battle, an ominous chakra spread across the stadium. Dark clouds came, and the whole arena exploded with explosive tags. This was Orochimaru's trap. From the shadows, Sand Shinobi and Sound Ninja went into the village. Anbu rushed in to contain the sudden assault, and above the stadium, Orochimaru revealed himself, cornering the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. The barrier rose around him, and the battle between master and student began. Naruto, Boruto, and Sasuke found themselves being thrust into the chaos along with Sasuke. Sand Ninja charged, but Boruto was the first one. He compressed chakra into his palms, and just like that, sent a devastating blow that shattered the chest armor and destroyed the Sand Ninja. This was a technique he learned from Neji, and Sasuke looked at it with disbelief. Naruto also unleashed his shadow clones to scatter the attacks. Sasuke, with his Sharingan blazing, darted between the ninjas, killing them one after another. However, the real threat came when Gaara, driven into madness by Orochimaru's manipulations, began transforming into Shukaku. Sasuke launched himself forward with a Chidori attack, but Gaara's shield was far too strong here. Boruto used his purple lightning along with Sasuke's Chidori, and they could stagger Gaara, but his transformation only accelerated. Naruto also came here as he tapped into the Nine Tails chakra and did a lot of damage to Gaara in such a short time. This forced him to retreat deeper into the monstrous state. Sasuke and Boruto were looking at Naruto as he was still the most overpowered of them all. As the young shinobi fought below, the true tragedy unfolded above when Orochimaru clashed with Hiruzen in a deadly duel. Like the original story, he died, and now the world was in shambles as Orochimaru retreated, and the Leaf Ninjas carried the third Hokage's dead body. The aftermath of the Chunin exam left the village quite scarce, and then the new Hokage was none other than Tsunade. Naruto was approached by the legendary Sanin, Jiraiya, while Kakashi trained Boruto. However, out of these three people, Sasuke left the whole group and went away to become Orochimaru's puppet. They tried stopping him, but every attempt failed. Under Jiraiya, Naruto's training was centered on control, power, and understanding the Nine Tails that was sealed within him. Jiraiya knew that Naruto's fiery personality and immense chakra would be best if he learned to control the Nine Tails and also Rasengan. So he took him to Mount Myobuko, and there Naruto learned about his father's technique, the Rasengan. At the same time, Jiraiya also revealed some fragments of the Akatsuki's threat, reminding Naruto that there were many stronger battles ahead. For Naruto, this training wasn't just any training, but a way for him to become even stronger than his brother Boruto. Orochimaru played into Sasuke's hunger for revenge, and under Orochimaru, Sasuke learned Kenjutsu styles, snake-based techniques, and other ways to amplify his Sharingan. Here, he also gained the ability to transform himself into a killer mutant form. The one who got the most out of this training and under the right direction was Boruto. He went on to train with Kakashi, and first he learned the lightning release. Boruto quickly learned attacks like Storm Fang, but also amplified the original Shadow Clone Jutsu to Lightning Jutsu, which electrocuted anyone who destroyed the clones. To make things things interesting, he even learned the Raijin step, which was a movement technique blending body flicker with control lightning chakra. This way he could travel and fight at faster speeds. According to Kakashi, Boruto was already a Yonin level shinobi, and together they were on countless missions as Naruto and Sasuke were still training. Boruto was also learning the hybrid nature transformation by combining both lightning and wind chakra that he learned from his father. After training, Naruto went to reclaim Sasuke, but was utterly humiliated after seeing his hybrid form. Boruto didn't know that Naruto went, or the outcome would have been completely different. Here the stage was set for future clashes, where they would reunite and fight against each other. For a couple of years, our heroes then completed their training, while Naruto was still troubled with Sage Mode. His training was intense and hard until one day he finally found a key hack to maintaining it. While it wasn't perfect, Naruto kept pushing to become the strongest version of himself. Everything was going well until one day, the news about Jiraiya's death broke out. The legendary Sannin died after trying to ambush Pain in the Rain Village. After Naruto came back to the village, he found this devastating news and had the urge to become even stronger. Boruto, on the other hand, was already learning his father's ways, getting swifter, but still having lots of work to do. One day, Konoha was quiet until the silence in the ninja world was suddenly broken when Pain, leader of the Akatsuki, descended upon the Leaf Village with the divine purpose to capture the 9 tails sealed inside Naruto. The 6 paths of Pain ran through Konoha like an unstoppable storm, and their eyes were glowing with the Rinnegan. While Shinobi tried to defend, they were overwhelmed by Pain's parts. As soon as they used Shinra Tensei, everything was destroyed. Hundreds of people lost their lives, and Boruto was already on a mission with Kakashi. After they came back, they saw Konoha getting close to becoming an abandoned ruin once again. Once they came back, Boruto leapt into the fray with precision and strategy. He dodged all the devastating blasts that destroyed the weaker shinobi and came straight to the animal path. He unleashed the Stormfang, piercing through the huge beast with currents of light that were sharp enough to cut through flesh and bone. Then his clones spread across the battlefield, laying traps and diversions, keeping the 6 paths from guessing his true location. Unlike Naruto, who was always fighting all over the place, Boruto fought with precision, much like Kakashi, always staying one step ahead in battle. However, Pain was no ordinary opponent, and the Deva Path's Shinra Tensei shattered Boruto's lightning clones in an instant. Then the Preta Path absorbed his ninjutsu, while the Ashura Path's attacks forced Boruto to take a step back. Still, Boruto adapted as he combined his wind and lightning chakra into arcs of energy, slicing through all the summons and forcing Pain to acknowledge that there was some amazing shinobi from the Leaf. As Boruto pushed himself to the brink, he became exhausted, and his techniques became slower. The Raijin steps that were once destroying Pain's paths were also getting sluggish, and now Pain grabbed Boruto with his bare hand and was about to do another wave of Shinra Tensei to kill him until something magical happened. A toad's croak echoed through the ruins, followed by a rush of natural energy. From the wreckage, Naruto arrived, standing tall beside the toads like Gamma Bunta, Gamma Ken, and Gamma Hero. Naruto's training with Jiraiya had transformed him into a total beast, and no longer was he a mere genin, but a trained killer. Boruto saw Naruto and a rare spark ignited inside him. With his chakra as bright as light, the brothers started fighting the paths of Pain. Here, Boruto's tactical genius was meshed with Naruto's overwhelming force in ways that Pain hadn't anticipated. After the animal paths summoned the monstrous hounds, Boruto's lightning-infused strikes slowed them down, and Naruto's Rasengan crushed them into dust. Against the Ashura Path's mechanical barrages, Boruto set up traps with his lightning clones, and as soon as the Ashura Path cut him off, all the other clones jumped at him, creating a frenzy of lightning, ultimately killing the Ashura Path. As the Preta Path tried to absorb Naruto's chakra, Naruto unleashed some of the Nine Tails power only to overwhelm the path and kill it. The two brothers fought with such synergy that even Sasuke would be jealous. Finally, after killing all of the paths, Pain unleashed his ultimate attack, Chibaku Tensei. Naruto caught it, straining against the crushing pull. However, Boruto helped him by using an enhanced version of his purple lightning, destroying all the attacks that Pain had. To help them, Hinata joined their team, only to get completely annihilated by Pain, just like in the original timeline. And something shifted in Naruto. Just like the original storyline, he destroyed Pain in a moment after the Nine Tails took over, and that inspired Boruto to become even stronger. They went through the whole Pain philosophy phase, and in the end, Nagato returned the bodies of the dead. As silence ruled the Leaf Village, Boruto and Naruto stood among the rubble victorious. And now Naruto was carrying Jiraiya's dream, becoming even more powerful than his master. After Sasuke saw the news of how Uzumaki's brothers defeated Pain on their own, he started training with Orochimaru to learn the Snake Sage mode. However, tensions in the Leaf Village were brewing after they were visited by the fake Madara Uchiha, who told them he was going to start a war against them. Now, the Leaf Village was planning an all-out attack in the war since they were surprised to see dead people arriving, and the only one behind this was Orochimaru. Moving back to Sasuke, when he left Konoha, he knew one thing. To beat Naruto and Boruto, he had to become stronger than ever. Orochimaru didn't just see him as a future vessel, but a prodigy capable of mastering arts beyond what he himself was. In the Ryuchi Cave, which was the legendary home of the White Snake Sage, Orochimaru introduced Sasuke to a forbidden truth: natural energy. Unlike Jiraiya's connection with the codes of Mount Myoboku, the snake sage mode was darker, more corrosive, and fed off the energy of living beings themselves. Orochimaru told Sasuke that even though he had tried hundreds of thousands of times to learn this technique, he always failed, and now his body was too frail to even try it. Here, Sasuke's Sharingan gave him precision that was mostly lacking in others. He could easily perceive natural energy, gauge flow, and balance it with his own chakra. Their training was merciless, and hours of stillness under the suffocating area of the cave forced Sasuke to become stronger than he already was. Weeks turned into months, and Konoha was attacked by more and more people. Sasuke blended the lessons of the snakes with his own ruthless genius by learning to strike with enhanced speed and amplifying his energy with lightning itself. This was not the imperfect, bulky transformation like Jiraiya's, but Sasuke's control was much clearer and better. By the time Sasuke emerged from the Ryuchi cave, he was no longer just a Sharingan prodigy. Rather, he became something much darker, sharper, and stronger. He could control the most powerful serpents with one thought, and his next target was clear: to fight Naruto and Boruto. However, there was still one person on his radar, and that was Itachi, his own brother who, in Sasuke's eyes, was the worst killer in the history of Konoha. He wanted revenge on Itachi, and now he thought that he had a chance. The Pain invasion had Konoha shaken, but not broken. Naruto and Boruto's victory gave the village hope, and their brotherhood was back to normal. Instead of moving in different ways, they were always looking forward to training with each other. Here, Naruto was summoned by the Elder Toads once more, and even Killer Bee joined him. This was not just the time to refine his Sage Mode, but they also wanted to begin their negotiations with Kurama. Jiraiya had left behind wisdom, but now Naruto would need to face the beast within him to either die or get stronger. Kakashi meanwhile sent Boruto to the Land of Fire's hidden groves, where remnants of Senju influence still lingered. Their mother had ties with the Senju clan, and with the power of his father, he felt like he could approach anything. There, through a scroll long kept sealed, Boruto was introduced to the legacy of none other than Hashirama Senju. From wood release techniques to Hashirama's own Sage Mode, he became obsessed with the first Hokage. At first, both brothers were going into similar paths, with Naruto training violently and inward, battling Kurama's hatred inside the seal. Every day he clawed closer to trust, forcing his will into Kurama's raw chakra, until one day Kurama stopped resisting. For the first time, Naruto's power wasn't controlled. It flowed within him, and when Naruto emerged from his meditation, he had Nine Tails chakra mode around him. Even someone as strong as Killer Bee was stunned to see his transformation. Moving forward to Boruto, his whole journey was much quieter, but no less dangerous. The Senju sage's rituals demanded a lot of harmony with nature on a scale far beyond what even Naruto and Boruto had achieved. He mediated under trees older than Konoha itself, and his chakra started becoming one with the forest. Suddenly, unique markings appeared around him, and he entered Hashirama's Sage Mode. The air bent to his presence, and this was one of the strongest Sage Modes the world had ever seen. Outside Konoha, the brothers finally met, and both gave each other a gaze of respect. Soon after, they clashed for hours and trained like killer beasts, only to get their strength elevated higher than it ever was. Then Sasuke was on a hunt to find his brother Itachi Uchiha. One day as Sasuke stepped into a shrine, his brother awaited him with shadows stretching long across the stone floor. At this time, Itachi wasn't dying, but Sasuke was not a weakling either. The battle began with a lot of hand signs and fire, with Uchiha's symbolic jutsu everywhere. As soon as Itachi used his great fireball jutsu, Sasuke pressed on with his relentless attacks, destroying it with the fury of Chidori. Their fight was amazing, and Itachi was unleashing the terrors of the Mangekyo Sharingan with the black flames of Amaterasu, igniting the battlefield. Itachi never wanted to kill Sasuke, but he couldn't go easy after seeing what kind of snake he had become. Then came the illusory world of Tsukuyomi, where Sasuke was sent into a genjutsu, but he avoided it using his own Sharingan and Sage Mode. The clash intensified after Itachi used Susanoo, and the only thing Sasuke could do was avoid it. As Susanoo shot a massive Amaterasu arrow at Sasuke, he barely slid through it but got caught in the fire. Burning heavily, the flames didn't stop, and by the time they did, Sasuke had lost one arm. That's when he called on the depths of his Sage Chakra. Suddenly growing another arm, Itachi was stunned to see what kind of beast his own brother had become. From there, Sasuke used Kirin Reborn, an attack that was much faster and deadlier than before. Even though Itachi used his Susanoo and several other techniques, he was destroyed and died at the hands of his own brother, Sasuke. Sasuke took his Mangekyo Sharingan and became much stronger. He didn't show even his brother any mercy, who still had a lot of affection for him. When Sasuke came out of that shrine, his eyes were burning red with fresh light and chakra that was darker and heavier than before. He was no longer an average person, but had become something far greater, a pure monster. The Akatsuki were no longer whispering in the shadows. The 5 Kage summit had already happened. With Sasuke waging his own war on the Hidden Leaf village during the summit, word spread that 4 Akatsuki members were moving across the Land of Fire, including Hitan, Deidara, Sasori, Kakashi and Kakuzu. Each of them was powerful enough to crush armies, and together they would be able to wipe out nations. This wasn't just any mission. It was a battle for survival. Our shinobi, including Naruto, Boruto, Kakashi, and Sakura, set out on the journey to stop Akatsuki's advances. The first clash came when they fought Deidara, who was high above with his clay falling down and exploding. Trees fell like blades of grass as detonations painted the sky with fire. Naruto was faster than ever in his Nine Tails enhanced speed mode while dashing through the blades, sending clones to mislead Deidara. Then Boruto had already grounded himself in Sage mode, and Naruto was surprised to see that his brother, who was always so strong, had become a god-tier character. In his Sage mode, Boruto unleashed massive wooden roots that stretched skywards, forming shields that absorbed the detonations. Kakashi then glowed his own Sharingan while using his Chidori to stab Deidara, but the foe was too smart and avoided the attack. In the end, Naruto leapt high with the boost that Boruto gave him and used his Rasen Shuriken to destroy Deidara with a devastating force that he had never seen before. This was almost too easy for our heroes, but they didn't know what was coming next. As Deidara fell, Sasori stepped out of the shadows with human puppets, filling the battlefield like an army of corpses. Hundreds of lifeless faces marched forward with weapons of poison. Boruto's Sage Eyes caught the chakra strings with a focused hand seal. The roots erupted from the ground, tearing apart hundreds of the puppets, making Sasori quite vulnerable to attack. However, Sasori, being the smartass that he was, still used his ultimate puppet, the body of the third Kazekage, wielding the infamous Iron Sand. Spikes and storms of metal hit Kakashi, who went way back in the storm. From there, Naruto and Boruto struck together, with Naruto blasting with a Rasengan storm in his Sage mode, while Boruto used his Wind Rasengan, which he threw towards Sasori. The third Kazekage's body was turned to rubble, and they caught Sasori by tying his body tightly. On the other hand, Hitan and Kakuzu were already fighting the crew and died at the hands of Neji Hyuga, who took revenge for his teachers. Most of the Akatsuki members fell without capturing even one Jinchuriki in this timeline. Moving forward to Sasuke, things were getting heated. This was the best time for Orochimaru to take control over Sasuke's body, as he was in a battle with none other than Kisame, the one-time ally of his elder brother. From the land of fire, Sasuke Uchiha arrived with a purpose, and that was to destroy Kisame, who wanted Samehada all for himself, so he could become an even stronger beast. The two titans clashed instantly, with Kisame charging quickly with the brutal force of his sword. However, Sasuke countered with lightning speed, and his Sharingan anticipated every strike. His Chidori Nagashi rippled outward, repelling Kisame's approach, but his sword drank the lightning like it was an afternoon snack. Suddenly, water surged as Kisame unleashed towering sharks of chakra-infused water, transforming the battlefield into his domain. Then came the huge water poison lake, and in his element, Kisame was a demon. His speed increased and his strikes became relentless. Sasuke, however, stood calm and used his Sage energy mode. With a single seal, the water itself trembled. Sasuke used a storm of fire dragons that boiled the whole lake, and steam filled the air. As Kisame lunged forward with Samehada to devour his chakra, Sasuke Susanoo erupted with an armored warrior of spectral purple color. The blade of Samehada clashed with Susanoo, but it was far too overpowering for the clash. While Kisame pressed forward, his body was slowly merging with his sword, so he was becoming a beast of scales and fins himself. But despite hundreds of attempts to destroy Sasuke, he ultimately fell when Sasuke used Kirin, making him look like a roasted fish. Sasuke had too little time to rest, but from the shadows emerged Orochimaru. Orochimaru's body split into countless serpents, and he found out that this was the special moment when he would take Sasuke's body for himself. They fought for hours with Orochimaru testing Sasuke's powers. But in the end, even though Orochimaru used his true snake form, he was struck with an Amaterasu arrow, ultimately destroying him and seriously injuring him. Orochimaru accepted defeat, and Sasuke left the scene. As Sasuke stood among the ruins, the bodies of Kisame and Orochimaru were destroyed. But suddenly another presence emerged from the dark. Sasuke thought it was his unlucky day because he kept getting approached by different types of people. From the view of space itself, a masked man appeared and called himself Madara Uchiha. This Madara spoke of the truth, the Uchiha massacre, and Itachi's true motives for destroying corruption. This time, instead of getting Itachi's message, Sasuke became even angrier at the Leaf Village. And for now, all of his power was directed against the Hidden Leaf, destroying everyone that would come his way. Obito then told Sasuke his true reality of taking off the mask and also describing how they both would need to capture all the Jinchurikis to revive the Ten Tails. Sasuke loved the idea, but he sensed another snake in the shadows. It was Kabuto, who had just witnessed his master's death. He told Sasuke that he would bring his brother back, and together they could do a full-on invasion of the Leaf Village. Now on one side it was Naruto, Kabuto, reanimated Itachi, and Obito. Meanwhile he had Naruto, Boruto, and Kakashi. However, back in the Hidden Leaf, a very humiliating thing had happened. Orochimaru went there and met Tsunade. Their meeting seemed very mellow, and Tsunade hated him for who he had become. However, Orochimaru told the Hidden Leaf that a full-blown invasion was coming, and that Kabuto was going to reanimate Itachi Uchiha, so they would come here and capture the Nine Tails to revive the Ten Tails later on. They had virtually no time to prepare, and there Kakashi told Orochimaru to help help them revive Minato and Namikaze in the battle. Orochimaru agreed. On one end, we had Minato, who had just come from the reanimation jutsu. But on the other hand, we had Itachi, who was more like a puppet to Kabuto. This was the first time the Uzumaki brothers met their father, and they started crying. The Leaf Village was stunned to see a person like Minato being alive, and temporarily, he became the Hokage while Tsunade also wanted to join the war. The villagers were evacuated underground, and the Hokage gathered their forces at the front. The invasion began right when everyone found Obito standing on top of the Hokage carvings. Naruto met his gaze across the top, and his Nine-Tails chakra cloak started flaring around him. He transformed into a figure of golden chakra. As soon as Naruto jumped to attack him, Sasuke's Chidori quickly roared with lightning as Naruto's attack was disrupted, and Boruto saved Naruto with his purple lightning. The stage was set and Naruto was fighting Sasuke. Sasuke quickly unleashed his Amaterasu flames across the hidden leaf, while Naruto's chakra arms batted them away, sending black fire away with sheer force. Naruto then used his Russian Shuriken, slicing through the air with powerful force. Even though Sasuke Susanoo caught it, the explosion sent both of them flying away. Here, Sasuke got angry and retaliated with the most fearsome technique, Kirin. Lightning from the heavens tore the clouds, forming into a dragon of nothing but destruction. However, for the first time, Naruto took something personally, and he called on the whole Kurama, entering his complete Nine-Tails form. The large fox, cloaked in golden energy, clashed with Kirin. Sasuke's hatred for the village was showing, and the fight continued with neither of them willing to give up. Next, Boruto faced Kabuto, who was the true architect of the invasion. Kabuto had also absorbed some of Orochimaru's essence, and his body became the perfect blend of serpentine scales and human features. With Edo Tensei puppets swarming around him, he became the nightmare of power. Boruto quickly entered his sage mode, and his body became filled with green natural energy. Wooden roots erupted from the ground, smashing apart Kabuto's army of undead shinobi. Boruto fought with true valor while smashing the ground with precision and control, surpassing even Naruto's sage mode. Kabuto then enhanced his own body with Snake Sage mode, and his movements became much more streamlined than before. He began attacking Boruto with faster movements, but Boruto countered with wooden spikes that impaled the serpents midair. The battle was opposite because on one end we had Kabuto's twisted experiments, and on the other it was Boruto's inherited senjutsu. Boruto, using his power, summoned a massive wooden dragon that crushed dozens of reanimated shinobi before lunging at Kabuto himself. Even when weakened, Kabuto smiled and cast a genjutsu, where Boruto saw illusions of snakes and endless coffins rising around him. But then Boruto used Sage Wood Release, Thousand Arms Strike, a titanic barrage of chakra-infused fists that descended upon Kabuto, destroying his very body. High above the battlefield, space itself twisted as Minato and Obito were fighting. The yellow flash faced his old student. He instantly knew it was Obito and asked him if Kakashi knew who he truly was. Obito was affected by what Minato said. Instantly, he used Kamui to phase through nearly every attack, but Minato's teleportation jutsu matched him perfectly. Each time Obito tried to warp Minato away, the fourth Hokage countered him with Flying Raijin, striking him from angles that he had never seen before. Obito's chains of chakra lashed out, attempting to bind Minato. However, as soon as the chains hit him, he vanished, reappearing with kunai embedded into every corner of the battlefield. His Rasengan smashed into Obito's side, sending him crashing. Obito now used the full power of his Sharingan, summoning enormous fire jutsu and warping the battlefield with Kamui. However, Minato was still calm as ever. With each teleport, each strike, he became closer to his fallen student. Both were quite tired at this point, but Minato had infinite chakra and wasn't dying anytime soon. Among the chaos, Kakashi was fighting Itachi, and this was one of the most tragic foes imaginable. Itachi apologized to Kakashi for finding him in a state like this, and that Sasuke had gotten mad at the whole village. The battle was pretty much in favor of Itachi until something amazing started happening. As Boruto beat the living hell out of Kabuto, suddenly the reanimation jutsu started disappearing. Both Itachi and Minato were aware, watching what was happening. Minato told Boruto that he was proud of him for being so strong, and to Naruto he said that he would surely become the next Hokage. With that said, the reanimated men disappeared, and now the fight was between Naruto and Sasuke, while Kakashi and Obito met in battle for the very first time. As soon as they started fighting, Kakashi broke Obito's mask to find out that it was his dear friend all along. Something shifted here, and for the very first time, he saw the markings of the Mangekyo Sharingan in the eyes of Kakashi. While Boruto was now helping the villagers from getting attacked by Kabuto's minions, Kakashi was having an excellent display of taijutsu with Obito, who said that he didn't feel anything and wanted revenge on the whole world. Naruto and Sasuke went to the same place where Madara and Hashirama fought, and now Sasuke turned on his Sage mode with his Orochimaru transformation, making him unstoppable. Naruto also used his Sage mode while fighting the man himself. Their battle became hard and long, with Sasuke using his Susanoo electric attacks, Mangekyo Sharingan, and all of the abilities that were bestowed upon him. But Naruto was also using barrages of Rasengan, his Nine-Tails form, and enhanced speed. Kakashi and Obito fought till the very end, and Kakashi ended up stabbing Obito in the throat, killing him instantly. Obito apologized to Kakashi for having such twisted ideas. But according to him, this was the only way to save the world from the curses. Naruto was majorly losing the battle due to the wide range of powers that Sasuke had. But suddenly he was approached by the Sage of Six Paths, Hagoromo himself, who gave Naruto a lot of tools to battle against the Uchiha. Naruto was bloodied but unbroken and suddenly rose with the light of Hagoromo's gifts. While Sasuke Susanoo descended in fury and its blade rose for the final attack, Naruto used his Rasen Shuriken and his orbs to fight him head-on. The blinding explosion tore the battlefield apart, and both were sent miles away from each other. When the dust settled, Sasuke Susanoo shattered and his eyes dimmed with exhaustion. The one standing above him was Boruto this time, who stretched his hand not to kill, but to save. Years of hate were gone, and everyone became friends. Kakashi also came back with 2 full Mangekyo Sharingans and was awarded the title of Hokage. In this timeline, Sasuke's hatred was short-lived, and thanks to Boruto's powers, Obito could never gather all the Jinchurikis, and Kabuto never went on a rampage either. In the end, the 3 brothers continued living in Konoha, bringing peaceful times while looking at a brighter future with minimal debts caused. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Naruto videos.